G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Adventure Intel Australia. We are still at the farm here visiting family for Christmas and New Year's, but I thought while we are here, I'd give you a quick sort of, not a walk around, but a bit of a chat, a bit of a talk about how the SRT-19 has been going for us. It's been around half a year on the road, and during that time we have thrown some absolute carnage the van's way, and so too with the ute. So this video will also be answering one of the most asked for things, which is a rig rundown on the big Ranger. But before we get to that, let's have a chat about this beast here, which is of course the Snowy SRT-19. This thing has been going so well. We're not immune, in fact we're probably more susceptible to issues than some people because we take this van so far afield. But really, we've had, I think, a couple of mud flaps fall off, or nothing, certainly nothing major. It's been the mud flaps on the front has been, I think, our one warranty claim for this. And as everyone knows, we did have that issue with the awning not working, not getting power, but that was a really quick and easy fix. And they've been the sort of two main things. And when you talk about tackling roads like Gib River, you know, Hell's Gate to Borroloola, all of those really, those roads that are known for being caravan killers, and that's the sort of things that have gone wrong, I'm really stoked about it. I've tested vans before, had them on tracks that are so much more tame than those ones, and immediately lost things like these steps, had absolute stone damage carnage like you could not believe on the front. I'm talking like bringing them back pretty much right off. Don't worry, Snowy, I wouldn't do that to you. When you have these things out in these sorts of conditions and you're tackling that sort of stuff day in and day out, it is so important to have a van that protects itself so that I don't really have to do it. And that's, I think, from the factory, something that has been nailed, because it's got all of that protection underneath. It's got the big stone guards up the front, and then just mud flap city. You know, everything is protected. The only thing we added protection to is the pipes, and I don't think anything's even come close to hitting the pipes in terms of stones or anything like that. So that's been absolutely great. If we come up the back, you'll see that when we were at Windabandy, and this isn't really something to do with the van, we were parked bum to the water, as most people would be, or sort of on an angle, but this bike, which was pretty much new when we left, absolutely copped it. So it's rust here, rust up here, which is just going to pit and take out those seals on them as soon as we try to ride it. So I think we're going to lighten the load and get rid of this thing off the back. I'd be really interested to know like how often people really use their bikes, because I think we've used it once, or like, you know, once or twice really. But and as you can see, we've only got one, and there would be two of us, but it's just for people who want to run to the shops and maybe we're still hitched up or something like that. If you wheel with me, you will know my least favorite thing is hitching and unhitching. I will avoid it at all costs, even though it's really not hard. Other things to mention that have just gone so well for us. We banged these on for the awning. Lots of people sort of complain that sometimes electric awnings don't work too well in the wind. Well, I'm here to tell you, if you take the normal precautions like you would with any awning, they work just fine. And having an electric awning, I don't care what anyone says, I will say this till the day I die, or until I'm humbled, I love having an electric awning. The other day it was raining, we had it out, we didn't have it strapped down because there was no wind, and we'd been darting in and out, and then this squall sort of came through, and to be able to go outside, not have to go outside, just push a button, have the awning bring itself in, don't have to get wet, don't have to go in the wind, so cool, so luxurious. The other thing that actually really amazes me about caravanning is I'm a sailor myself, and so much of this is actually a lot like being on a boat. And when you get yourself close enough to the water and you've got the wind and everything going on, if you're looking out and you don't see sand, you really do feel like you're on a boat, especially if you haven't leveled the van properly or stabilized it properly and it's rocking in the wind. So that is actually the reminder of just one other issue we did have, which was the stabilizer leg going up the back here. The leg itself is fine. The pin actually just fell out of there. That could have been anything that did that, but it's no biggie. I see them almost as a consumable item. Other things that have been working really, really well on the van, the brakes have never given us an issue, and I've been following along for a lot of people who are out there in a multitude of vans, and it seems over Christmas a lot of people were having brake issues. Obviously that's just a coincidence, but no brake issues, touch wood. That's been great. You know, I think if you want something to work, you really want brakes and suspension to work, and they've been beautiful on this van. Absolutely stunning. It rides like a dream, it tows like a dream. It's truly, it's good. So it's worth noting too that for small things that go wrong, or anything that goes wrong really, you submit your warranty claim the same as anyone else would. Snowy assess it, and just like they have for us, they accept it and they'll take it in and look after it for us. So while that's happening, we're going to catch up with some friends in Melbourne. Snowy's going to babysit the van. It's great, works perfectly for us. After that, we're going to leave Melbourne, head straight down to the Eyre Peninsula and absolutely tackle the guts off it. I hope to be there for a month at least, maybe more. I've seen a whole lot of it. Jess has seen very little, so I have some really cool places that I want to show her. And speaking of cool things, if we just come over here to this big cool thing here, the OG Ranger that everyone knows and loves. Never had a rig rundown, never really intended on doing one, but here we are. And the reason I will say that I never intended on really doing a rig rundown is because everyone's just going to come with their opinions. And this is a vehicle I built for myself to use, so you don't have to agree with it. You just have to know that I love it and I think it works great. So if you're looking for some inspiration or you just want to see what we're driving around in, this is the rundown of the Ranger. Up here, we got 3 variable beam pattern 9-inch driving lights from Bush Ranger. These are the Nighthawk ones and they are so good. So in the cab, I can adjust the beam spread from a pencil to a wider beam, and I can also adjust the brightness. And you can imagine with 3 9-inch lights on the front, there's a whole lot of brightness to play with. So that's great. Aftermarket headlights here, aftermarket bull bar obviously, with some custom hoops on it, or custom hoop, Uniden aerial. There's stuff going on everywhere and I'm not going to cover absolutely all of it. Under the bonnet, we have all the good things. We are remapped 3-inch exhaust, intercoolers, just everything's happening under there and it's great. This thing tows, like as a tow rig, it is so good. Fuel economy amazing, torque is on tap, brilliant. We've had this in really hot temperatures, it's unfazed. We've got big dual external transmission coolers in there that rarely let the transmission get above like 65 degrees, which is just insane for Australia. So Americans, if you're watching this, I definitely would suggest tapping into our external transmission cooler market because we've designed it for Australia. It will definitely cope in the States. Down here, Radar Renegade RT Pluses, some of the best tires I've ever run in my life. Got some Cal off-road upper control arms and some custom suspension from Superior Off-Road. That's all remote res and really beautiful. The only caveat with that is on the back, I never found a set of leaf springs that I was happy with aside from Tough Dog of all brands. So Tough Dog is what's in there and they are 350 kilo constants, I think. It was so long ago. Towing mirrors, really handy. Everyone needs them, especially if you're towing like we are. Everyone asks about these. These are steady ditch lights. So these are just a bracket I made up and these are ditch lights from Steady to hit down into like the ditches where the kangaroos would be. You'll see that the covers are on them, that's because they're above the headlights and these are separately switched, so it's worth mentioning that everything on this is done properly. So these are separately switched above board to my knowledge and really don't get used anymore. I could probably take them off if I had somewhere to put them because those things with their variable spread, so good. Extended wheel, or wheel arches, wheel flares there. Coming back, so we've got a 140 litre Long Ranger fuel tank underneath, so that's amazing. That's doubled our range. I'll take you in here. Don't read any of the rude and lovely stuff on the fridge. That's friends, family, people I meet on the road. They leave me messages. If we come around this side, you will see a really lovely Australian-made stubby cooler dispenser, and then more stubby coolers and stickers up here. At this point, this Canopy is probably been held together a lot by these stickers. This thing has done every desert, like everything, every desert. It's been around the country 9 times, I think now. Like this is getting on, and it's been loving life. So this is another version of the same Canopy fit out that I've run before. But things that I think you guys will find useful, if we come this side, you'll note that these temperatures here on this, if you can even see it, are quite hot. They manage they look after the temperatures for the fridge and the freezer. The fridge isn't running now. It's the first time I've ever turned it off. And it's because you'll notice I've also ripped off the awning and the rooftop tent, which means the solar panel came too. Still working out what I'm going to do with them, but the plan used to be that we would take this as far as we could, with the van on and then unhitch if we had to with the tent on the roof and go further. We just haven't needed to do it. Everywhere that we've wanted to go, we've gotten to, and then we've sort of made calls about the other things, and we're, you know, pushing around a whole lot of wind resistance, bumping up fuel, everything. You know, it's just more weight, it's more everything. So we've taken that all off, and then I even took off the awning, like I said, which is, I've never not had an awning on one of my 4-wheel drives, but we just haven't been using it. We used it like once in Exmouth. It used to be back in the day when Jess and I would tour in this, it was out all day, every day. Just not the case when you're next to a van, which is fine because we don't need 2 of absolutely everything. We don't need 2 awnings. You're only ever using one at a time, and it's usually the one with the van. Slide out pantry, which is empty. What I was gonna say is the thing I think you guys will find really cool is this knife block. It's from Joseph and Joseph. It was expensive actually. I think it was like 150 bucks, but these knives are dead sharp and they're designed to fit behind, like, you know, a kitchen cupboard or something. They are perfect for here. The door opens, they're not taking up any room. They've never ever come out on any track. I love that. So I've never seen it done before, and maybe it has been, but that is a great hack. It's so much safer than having drawers that could be there, you know, waiting to attack you as soon as you open it. On this side, I got one of the Navigator gear. I think this is like the organizer for behind a seat, and I've just screwed it in there, and it's been great. It's got all sorts of just random consumables, 3-in-1 oil, remote controls for speakers, you know, all that sort of stuff. And then in here is just like fishing gear and filleting gear, and I can't even remember what I put up here. It's all pretty bare bones in here because you know, we don't need this to be a fully equipped tourer anymore because we're touring between two things now, so it is a bit different. Up here, we would never leave without our air fryer oven. We genuinely use this all the time, and a coffee machine there if you need it. Other things, you know, paper towel holder. That is up the back here. That is a kitchen towel holder, as like a tea towel holder that is actually holding the tip of fishing rod, and you'll see the other end of it on the other side. More storage in here. This is like a dirty locker for me, so that's just got the big, the really big sort of bottle jack that I use to lift this rig up. Coming to the back, we have a Tag XR recovery bar. I think one of the best tow bars and recovery bars on the market. Genuinely, I wouldn't be running it otherwise. Some nice lights that are fully compliant with ADRs, which is really nice. I joke because my last ones were full of dust and I replaced them because it's my nightmare is causing a bad day for anyone else on the road. So I got some nice bigger, brighter ones so that everyone could see what I was doing when I was driving. Big rock tamers on here. I hate them. I love them, they work really well, but I hate them, they look terrible, I think. It makes me look like I'm trying to be some sort of semi-trailer truck. I should maybe just put some stacks on the side, but they're super vital for protecting the van, so that's okay. This thing here is pretty cool. This is an offset camera. So I've got my normal towing camera, and then I got one here, and that I can adjust from inside the cab. I can drag up and down. It's got a really wide field of view, and I use that for hitching up, and then I can use it as a constant rear view camera, because obviously I can't run a rear view mirror because I can't see through metal. Spare tire, bush ranger, bin bag there, and then we're coming around to this side. So this is probably my favorite side of the Canopy. It is, well, let's talk about this first. So this is a full-on Victron 12-volt setup. So that's been obviously built by Victron, supplied by Marine Battery Co., who also supplied these Fusion lithium batteries. So we've got 300 amp hours in here that runs through this Servo GX screen. I think that's what they call them. So you can see even without the panel on the roof, it's still held power. And this system is now about at least 3 years old now, and it would have well over 1,000 cycles to it. It's used and abused. I love this 12-volt setup. I love it. Like, it is the best I've ever had. Speaking of electrics, cheap crap electric chainsaw there, but it's always done the job, and I've never really needed anything else. That was bought in a pinch because that was all they had, and I've still got it. A Ryco service kit, which just happens to be there. This here is a big EcoX gear speaker, which usually runs along here, but I've been looking at ways to remount it. I love the EcoX speaker. Everything, oh, I've lost the slide. Everything is switched from here. So if I flick that, you'll see it will click and it will do everything, and everything comes to life. Everything is really easy to access, and so too with the music. So that will go somewhere there, I just want a bit more of a rigid way of mounting it, although I never had any problems with how it was mounted. I probably shouldn't have taken it off. More power here. This is a 20-litre water container, which is empty at the moment, but powered on-tap products. If you haven't heard of them, check them out. They're generally really, really good. If you were not wanting to do a massive water tank install, you just want to keep it light, on-tap is definitely the way to go. At the back, a retractable airline reel, which is going to this, which is just, this is a Windabandy bit of carnage here. I don't think you can see it, but we lost one of the footings from there, and that's now the perfect excuse to tell Jess we need a new air compressor and buy one, even though that one still works absolutely perfectly. Aside from that little, no, it works perfectly. So that's that, and then just spare parts here. That's the other end of that fishing rod. This is not designed to be pretty. It's not, you know, if it looks pretty, that's just an accident. What this is designed to be is completely bloody functional, and it is completely bloody functional. Like, I love it. But like I said, it has so many parts ripped out of it. It was a proper show car once upon a time, and now it's evolved again. Back here, just the normal jumper leads, straps, fluids, that sort of stuff. Big old set of custom rock sliders here. I genuinely can't remember the fabricator's name, but I love them. They perform just how rock sliders should. Inside, we will keep this brief. We'll start back here actually. So, seat delete, keeping seat belts to stay legal. We have this beautiful tool bag here from Legion Gear over in WA. It's my new favorite thing. I love this, and I got this because mainly because it's got this reflective strip here, and if I'm working on the side of the road at night, God forbid, I can put that down, at least have a little bit more safety aside from hazard lights and everything else. So that's great. HEMA maps here. If you're gonna have HEMA maps and have a lot of them like I do, put them in one of these, or it doesn't have to be from HEMA, but put them in this because it protects them. Nothing worse than going to open your map and half of it blowing away in the wind. Really, really expensive, really over-engineered. Probably never seen anything like it. Hat rack here, and then a storage system on the back window there. And then in here is, we got first aid kits there, camera gear, and then each of us have a little pocket there that we can put stuff in. If I reach in there, I can pretty much guarantee, you'll see how Jess's is actually on the driver's side, mine's on the passenger side. That's so we can reach around from our seats and access them, so we cross over, but guaranteed Jess's, if I just go for a little, will be full of girly stuff every time. So that's great. There was a whole lot of carbon fiber and stuff in this interior. I ripped those parts out and I sold them. They were all hand laid and beautiful, and all I kept was the steering wheel because I knew this was going to be a whole different kind of trip, and I couldn't bear to see that stuff get destroyed, just especially because when you go on the beach, you get sand go on top of it, then somebody inevitably bumps it or wipes it, you end up with scratched clear coat. It's just terrible. You know, we don't need hand laid carbon fiber on the inside of a four-wheel drive unless it's for your steering wheel, because it's so cool. So this is super comfortable. I love this thing. Some guys got this made for me, and it actually is molded to my hand. So it's super cool, it's super bespoke. The grips on the back literally fit my hands. Here, scan gauge 3, that's monitoring absolutely everything, and it's on a nice little nifty mount there. I had it on the suction mount for so long, and it was the most annoying thing in the world, so it just flopped everywhere. So now it's on that proper mount and I love it. Come around here, I've honed my inner Land Cruiser owner and bought some armrests here for a Land Cruiser 200 series. Ford Ranger owners, I'm here to tell you that they will absolutely fit. So if your wrist gets uncomfortable because you sit with your elbow on the door there and you're trying to hold the steering wheel down here, invest in these. They're so comfortable. I love them. Pity they're not grey with the rest of the interior, but who cares? Beautiful, and makes such a difference when you're touring long miles, long time. Just stuff like that just makes the biggest difference. Here is where you're seeing the other end of that camera I was talking about. So this is the monitor for it. I can just click and drag there and change the field of view that I have, and it's also got a dash cam on the front of it. And then, Jess, how about you jump around to the passenger side and I will talk. So in here now, if we go through a few other things, I've got a shift lock button there, which is like such a simple 3-cent hack, but honestly, so much better than popping that thing up and moving it if you need to. So obviously what I'm talking about is that just allows me to shift without having to pop this up and push a button down manually, which is what you'd usually have to do. This is where I'm controlling the variable beam patterns from the Nighthawk. So I've got spot and flood variations here, and then my beam intensity or brightness there. Over here is a boost speed next version 2 throttle controller. It's got a lot of good features in it. It's worth mentioning. Some of these things were sponsored at the time. I'm out of contract with most things on this vehicle, so I'm giving you, as I always would as a motoring journo, my absolute best opinion on it, and if it sucks, I'll tell you. This thing has some features I absolutely do not use, and it has some features I really do use. Features that set it above or apart from the normal sort of throttle controls that you're seeing on the market are that this has things that'll boost your setting to boost your revs for winching or charging. It's got lope tune sort of style stuff in there if you want that. Don't mess around with it. Although if you are idling for a long time, because as we all know, common rails hate it, you know, a lope tune sort of, a faux lope tune may really help you not do any damage to your engine. So up here, we've also got some more switches. They control a whole lot of other things around the vehicle that I won't go into. And the cool thing about this is it's removable. So I can take this around camp with me and be switching lights on and off if I had to. That's a receiver for one of the off-road GPSs in here, because this is a jailbroken head unit. And then other than that, in here we've got speaker upgrades. The other, this is a new one out from Uniden. It's one of their cheaper models with replay that we're having a look at. So that's to, I guess, the little brother of the X-Track 80 Pro. So we're just having to play around with that. And then just normal stuff, really nice seat covers. And full stage 2 sound deadening from Car Builders. So that's got the acoustic layer, and then obviously that matting and everything else. There is so much stuff I'm guaranteed to be forgetting, but these are the things I can see and I can remember to talk about right now. So if you have any more questions, anything you specifically want to know about with this vehicle or that Caravan over there, just drop the comment down below and I promise you we will answer it. I think that's everything. Big old custom made snorkel right here, and that's going into that was going into a K&N filter. I ran that for about a month and I didn't like it. It coated my MAF sensor in that oil that they coat them in. Just terrible. I run all Ryco stuff because they meet or exceed the OEM manufacturing sort of guidelines for filtration. So that's what I run, and we are, for anyone who's interested, right up around nearly 220k on the clock of this big Ranger now. I would say 90% genuinely easily was done off-road in some of Australia's most remote and inhospitable locations. This ute has been to places so rarely visited by humans that more people have been to the South Pole than have been to where this ute has been in some instances. So it really has been around. And so I guess what I'm getting at here is throw around, if you like, that I have done things different to how you would have, or if you've got something you love or something you hate. But I suppose do go easy if there's something you hate, because I love this vehicle, the memories I have with it, all of that. That's what it's about to me. I keep thinking about what I'd get if I didn't have this. I had an order in on an F250. I must be the only bloke in the world who cancelled an order on an F250 to keep his Ranger. But I can't get over the memories. And it's the same sort of memories that I'm building with the van. So watch me try to get rid of that if I ever have to. But I think that really wraps it up. So there's a whole lot of stuff I've missed on here. Probably a whole lot of stuff you want to know about. Ask the questions, I'm happy to answer them. So is Jess. She's behind the camera today filming, looking absolutely beautiful. Do you guys want to see her? She says no, but she looks beautiful. Take my word for it. All right, well, we'll see you guys next time on the Eyre Peninsula.